And so I told him, you can't set things more on fire.
Okay, but I mean, you can try, right?
You're not
Just more
helping
fire
here.
Okay.
And this is the
Microphone.
microphone. Got it.
Hey, guys, what are you doing?
Okay, so this week's show is about Roy Bean, this guy in Texas who ended up a judge even though he had no business in any position of power. So Cecil is letting me and Tom edit the end of this sketch.
Really? That doesn't sound like what Cecil would do.
Yeah, he said it's going to be a good example.
I downloaded QuickBooks. I'm ready to go.
That's still not editing software.
So you say it's not, but you
not,
can
though.
do it
Guys,
quickly.
I don't think this is a good idea.
Come on, no, I've seen you do it. How bad could it be?
Testing. Is this microphone working?
But Tom, you can't wear a hat.
Yeah, this was a mistake.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath, and I'll be telling you drunken uncle stories of my glory days, but I won't be drinking and crying alone.
For once.
Joining me for this mess is a man who would choose correction tape as his dueling weapon, and a man who keeps asking me if he can tape us. By the way, I said yes, so just, stop asking. You're making it weird. Please welcome Noah and Tom.
People are never expecting the I got you, no you didn't argument when there are real guns involved. So you always take it by surprise.
Okay, to be fair, Heath, what you said was, do you have a high-speed shutter? And the answer is, of course I do. Yes. What else would you?
And also joining us tonight are the peanut butter and chocolate, the handy and massage parlor, the courthouse and saloon of best friends,
Okay.
Eli and
Okay.
Cecil.
All right, your money's on the way, Heath. Your money is on the way.
Yeah.
Hey,
Heard.
Heath,
Check.
by the way, we just still need to schedule that duel from episode 54. I don't know if you remember.
I feel like that was a
I don't know if you remember.
misunderstanding. I think everybody
Let's put a pin
heard
in that for later.
that was
Yeah,
officially
yeah.
not how that. Nope, not how it happened. Okay, Andrew. All right. really quick before we get started, let's thank those patrons. We very much appreciate your generous contributions to the GoFundMe for Eli and Noah's imminent funerals and for Tom's weird series of blackmail payments that most people would call alimony, and for sex workers to replace the hole in my heart. And Cecil is a decent human being. If you'd like to help the cause, we'll tell you where to go, and you'll find out all about that at the end of the show. And with that out of the way, tell us, Noah, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event are we going to be talking about today?
I just want to point out I can be dying and a decent human being. I mean, I can be both of those things in that
No,
joke.
you can't. No.
But I mean, theoretically, I could have been.
I mean, I'm saying it can be done. I'm saying you
can
can't be the
say
one that
whatever
does
we
it.
want.
That's not for you.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about Roy Bean, Texas saloon owner and justice of the peace.
And Tom, you read this Wikipedia entry nearly to the end, I'm assuming. Well done. Here, you never get to the finish line, but congrats on the almost this time.
I was
That's
proud.
good for
I was
you.
not.
Good
That's
for
a
you.
good
What are you
thing
like?
for me.
50? Okay, cool. So are you ready to tell us how to flick our Roy Bean?
Heath, I genuinely cannot wait to tell this story.
All right, let's get started. I'm the host this week, so I'm just going to sit back, relax, and cut little strips of masking tape into this microphone for later.
Okay, go ahead and do that, Heath.
Yes, sir.
That's your time, buddy.
Yeah.
So, Roy Bean was an old-timey 1800s saloon keeper and justice of the peace who served in Texas. And he has also now made my top 3 historical dinner guest wish list. Him and Helen Keller, and the third slot is still open. We're keeping that
Morgan
one.
Freeman got bumped. Yeah. I mean, like, who doesn't want the Shawshank narrator just explaining the food all slow? Even better than masking tape. But good choice dropping him. I get it.
Are we doing living or dead? I want to know.
Sure, yeah.
Then I choose Neil Gorsuch, dead. That's who I
call.
want for
That's
my
a good
guest
call.
at dinner.
Good call. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. So back to the story. Roy Bean. Roy Bean was born in Kentucky in 1825, and he was the youngest of 5 kids. The family he was born to was extremely poor, a fact which actually seems redundant since he was, as previously mentioned, born in Kentucky.
Kentucky shaming is kind of our June theme, guys.
Yeah. We just got one $20 patron sitting at home right now. These fellers, they sure do like to make jokes about me. My mom died in the Challenger explosion. I sort of let that go, but it's just been a series of, oh boy, don't do it.
So I'm going to tell you Roy's parents' name next, and not because you should care, not because it's interesting on its own, but because their names are fucking amazing. Dad's name was Fantley Roy Bean Sr. and Mom, the delightful, effervescent Anna Henderson Gore Bean.
God, Gore Bean sounds like she had a horrible clitoris accent.
Impossible. Who could find it?
Okay, I am pretty sick and tired of you kink shaming me on this podcast, Cecil Fur. I'll say it right now.
All right. Since being poor in Kentucky sucks more than being poor elsewhere, Roy decided to leave and try his hand at being poor elsewhere. And he left home at 16 and he rode a barge to New Orleans to find work. And instead of finding work, he found trouble. And although the wiki doesn't exactly specify what kind of trouble,
It was with a capital T that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool.
I
Music
like that
Man.
one.
River City.
Music Man.
Shit. Shit tits.
Like, this wasn't the kind of trouble that was just nothing, because the very next line indicates that he fled, nice verb, to San Antonio to live with his brother Sam. And I got to thinking about what the hell you have to do in New Orleans in the 1800s that is so bad that you have to flee from it. And I had to stop because I became too aroused to concentrate. So
I'm guessing he fled when he got caught being an N-word lover. I mean, that's the straight white male of the 1800s, the N-word. Am I right?
Cecil, you're going to beep that out, right? The straight white male. You're going to beep that out, right?
all right, so the two brothers opened a trading post in Chihuahua, Mexico, evidently like trading small yappy dogs for like valued objects, whatever that might have been. I don't even know.
Like value to small yappy dogs. Cats that don't like anybody but their owners.
Hey. Sometimes it's because their owners are better than everyone else, Eli. Cats just know that.
All right, so whatever they bought or sold, it didn't matter too much because pretty quickly Roy shot and killed a Mexican desperado. And once again, Roy had to leave town, this time fleeing to Sonora, Mexico.
Okay, calling it right now. This show ends at the South Pole. Right? He's going down.
All right, so Roy either got bored or maybe had to flee again. It's not really clear, but he ended up in San Diego shortly after, living with his brother Joshua, who was the mayor of San Diego. Now, you might think that Roy would settle in, enjoy a little bit of the SoCal life, mooch happily off his brother for a while, but no. Instead, he pissed off a Scotsman named Collins. I love this. Collins challenged Bean to a pistol shooting match on horseback, and Roy was allowed to choose the targets, and he no shit chose as the targets each other, turning the shooting match into a duel. But the
Wait. If he could choose the targets, couldn't he just choose the targets on the other guy's body? We're all on you. Yeah.
Or if they don't let you do that, you choose ourselves as the targets and you run the old pump fake. It's like it's lose, win, win, right?
Wait, but I'm going to come to Roy Bean's defense here because what the fuck did Collins have in mind? I mean, if they're not shooting at each other, they might as well be settling their differences with a big ski race. What the hell is the point?
I think that's what they were trying to do. All right, so they fucking dueled with pistols on horseback in February of 1852, and Bean shot Collins and wounded his right arm. ignoring evidently the nearby signage clearly spelling out no rough housing or horseplay. And they were both sent subsequently to jail. Bean was evidently something of a looker, right? And he attracted the attention of the women in the area. And while he was in jail, he received letters and flowers and food and wine and cigars from his female admirers. And I love this so much because hidden inside a gift of tamales was a pair of knives. This may explain the sharp pains I feel often after Mexican food. I'm not 100% it's the case, but Roy used the knives to dig his way through the cell wall and escape from jail after only 2 months behind bars.
Wait, that's back when they used to build jails out of meatloaf and stale bread? Like,
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I hate to go far back, but question, how did he attract the attention of women in the area? Did they do a catwalk instead of a perp walk? What's going on?
No, he clicked on that porn thing that always flashes. Attract hot females in your area. Right there. It's like flashing.
All right, so Roy recently fled again, this time to San Gabriel, California, and he worked at another saloon owned by his brother Joshua. Now, Joshua was later murdered, and he left the saloon to Roy. I want to be very clear here. It does not say that Roy murdered Josh to get the saloon, and any conjecture that would suggest this would, of course, be irresponsible. So let's pause and not do that.
Okay, so Roy Bean, who I'm assuming is Mitt Romney's great-grandfather, is obviously crushing it. Does he win any lady property along the way during the story?
Okay, Keith, I really wish you'd stop asking that on every episode about everyone. It's off-putting. Like, this is the one where it makes sense, but like we did it on the Marie Curie episode, and that didn't make sense. It's a lot.
All right, well, sort of, because in 1854, Roy began courting a woman. Now,
See?
we don't know her name. It doesn't tell us. It's old-timey times. I guess her name doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, everything was going well until she was fucking kidnapped by a Mexican military officer and married off against her will. Dating was hard back then.
No, it doesn't sound that hard. A bit of rope, getaway horse. I mean, I think he got it down pat.
Horses are expensive.
Well,
That's fair.
No,
That's
but
fair.
for what it's worth, it's not true. I have had so many women use the "I was kidnapped by a Mexican military officer and married off against my will" excuse, and then you see them later at Applebee's and they're not married. It's a whole fucking thing.
They're eating a skillet cookie, you know.
I have no sympathy for anybody at an Applebee's. Like, whatever you see at an Applebee's is on you.
Now I'm having my funeral at an Applebee's just to bother Tom.
Enjoy having it
Oh,
alone.
like he was going.
Tom's not going to your funeral.
Nobody was going to come anyway.
All right.
Maybe just one of you makes that joke, not everyone at the same time. The most in sync we've ever been as a comedy troupe. You might as well have fucking synced it up. That's how we're going to sync up recordings from now on. Fuck the 10 count.
Oh, God. Improv is great. Oh, man. All right. Now, Roy didn't take kindly to having his woman kidnapped, and so he challenged the kidnapper to a duel, which he won, but like only kind of sort of. So he killed the kidnapper, but the kidnapper had friends. And those friends, 6 of those friends, actually, they captured Roy. They sat him on a horse. They tied a noose around his neck and they left him so he would hang whenever the horse moved. And the horse did move, and Roy did hang, and this is why you never leave until the guy you are murdering is actually murdered.
My dad used to tell me that all the time. It's good advice.
It is. That's good.
The rope stretched, and it allowed Roy to survive the fall.
Yeah, anytime you're doing a hanging and also a slow-moving dipping mechanism, you got to assume you're the bad guy and you're going to get foiled.
You know what? I will say it again, Heath. That's only obvious in retrospect. Plus, it was a great master plan. I had to tell somebody about it. Jesus.
Right? So, like the bride who witnessed all this and was hiding behind a tree because I guess like they remembered to bring her to the hanging, but like left her to Uber herself home. I'm not sure how that works. She ran out and she cut Roy down, and Roy survived, but he had a permanent scar on his around his neck, and no shit, it said he had a stiff neck.
Just they want to be thorough.
I don't want to rule out the Uber driver. He could have already come by, raped her, and then left.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We don't want
He
to.
said this was near San Diego, so I just,
Roy later managed another saloon, but then he headed out to Texas to seek his real destiny. He tried running a firewood business, but his stock of firewood was just wood he stole from a neighbor. So that just didn't work for long. And then I love this. He ran a dairy business, but he was caught watering down all the milk. He tried his hand at being a butcher, but he got all of his livestock by stealing unbranded cattle from other ranchers. I love this guy. None of these would turn out to be Roy's true call.
Honestly, given the pattern, I'm just glad he didn't try to run a brothel. I was really...
All right, Tom, I think you promised us a justice of the peace, and so far you have not delivered. I guess nobody's surprised. So let's stop this rambling ramshackle of a story and take a quick break for some apropos of nothing.
All right, Roy, prepare to meet your maker.
Do your worst, you snakes.
Oh, we will. Boys, tie him to that tree and put his horse under him. Let the horse decide when he'll die.
Feel like we could just hang him, just do it right away.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, boss, but like, we could just hang him now, like the usual way where you just hang him right away.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Old Roy here is going to wait to meet the devil. Now, let's leave his lady here and get down to the saloon.
Wait, boss. Sorry, boss. We're going to leave her here? Hold on now.
Leave me here. That don't make no sense.
Yeah, no, she's going to watch old Roy here meet his maker.
Or maybe she's going to rescue him.
Rescue him, exactly. Yeah, she's obviously going to rescue him. That's a stupid idea.
Not unless she gets awful lucky, and I don't think Roy here has rolled much but a snake eye.
Okay, it seems oddly planned to just
enough of this
hang
talk.
him right away.
Let me just leave my knife here with the sharp edge pointed at the rope. Put a neck brace on Roy and get to the saloon.
Neck brace? What are you talking about?
Why would you leave the knife?
I said that get on out of here. Come on, we're getting out of here.
So you gonna cut me down?
I guess.
Oh.
And we're back. When we left off, Roy Bean was winning duels, getting hanged, and trying out careers like me taking samples at an ice cream store. So tell us, Tom, what is next?
Well, if it's like you taking samples at an ice cream store, the woman explains that you've tried every flavor, you call her a slur, and then the cops come. So
that wasn't a slur. It wasn't a slur.
All right, so that's weird. Roy, ever the ladies' man, is now 41. He got married to the lovely Virginia Chavez, who, at the ripe old age of 18 and only 23 years his junior, made Roy Bean Roy Moore's personal hero. But despite this obvious recipe for long-lasting love and marital bliss, Roy was soon arrested for aggravated assault and threatening to kill Virginia. They went on to have 4 beautiful children.
I just can't get over what a horrible thing that is to say about Roy Moore. He would have never approved of this. That girl has pubic hair.
True.
Yeah.
And she's part Latina, for sure. Shut it down, according to Roy Moore.
Question, if you beat up your 18-year-old wife, is it also child abuse? I'm asking for a friend. Heath's the friend. He's the friend. That ice cream thing took a weird
ice cream
turn.
lady?
It's a very
Wish you wouldn't tell my stories for me. That's fine.
All right, so Roy had a family to support now, so he went back to his roots and began
Killing Mexicans.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. It's your story. I'll let you do it. Tom.
No, he began again running a saloon in a poverty-stricken slum known, and I shit you not, as Beanville. Now, I know, Beanville. Roy was so reviled by his neighbors in Beanville that after hearing rumors of railroad construction camps nearby, a neighbor paid Roy $900 to convince him to leave town.
$900, really? That's weird. Noah and Lucinda gave me $900 exactly a few times, but That was just to be nice. They
Was
were just
it?
like, it was an unrelated story from my life. They just gave them to me.
I mean, they wrote the words "get" and "out" on every other $100
It was
bill last
out
time.
and get.
I don't know.
Just,
And by the way, not for nothing, that's $25,000 in today's money. Okay, I can only imagine hating my neighbors that much because I've lived in Georgia.
All right, so Bean left his wife and his kids. Good move on Bean there. Solid. And he headed to Texas with his $900. And with his money, he bought a tent, a few supplies, and 10 55-gallon drums of whiskey.
I bet that was the good shit.
fantastic. That is how you invest.
Just double bag. You got to put double bag or they break right through. So
He's like putting like those weird little mesh things around so they don't clink in the bag.
I can carry it all in one trip. In the nearby construction camps, there were 8,000 railway workers. So Roy set up a tent city near the Pecos River that he called, no shit, Vinegaroon.
I wonder if he eventually soured on the name.
Shit tits.
Shit tits. I'll say it myself.
How do you
That's fine.
land on Vinegaroon? Like, hey, guys, any ideas for the name of my bootlegger tent city that I just made? Just shout them out. Shout them out whenever you got an idea. Ethnic slur, salad dressing. Okay, that is great. That is great. Vinegaroon, we're done here.
First try. Shorter meeting than I expected.
However it happened, Vinegaroon was far from any official law, and keeping the peace there was tough. So a Texas Ranger declared that someone needed to act as the justice of the peace. And Roy was appointed as that someone.
Oh, Jesus.
Roy Bean, the guy we've been talking about, a man on the run after breaking out of jail for shooting a man in a duel, a man who killed another dude in a different duel over a girl with no name, who was also a cattle rustler, a firewood thief, a milk diluter, a wife beater, and a child abandoner. This guy was now the justice of the peace.
Jesus.
Yeah, and Donald Trump is president, Tom. If you're looking to shake me to my core, you're going to need a time machine. I'm just giving you a heads up. I wish I had a milk diluter for a president. I wish.
It's the worst of his crimes. All right, so one of his first official acts as justice of the peace was for him to shoot up the tent of a rival saloon owner. This was listed as an official act. Roy then turned his tent saloon into the courthouse, and he started referring to himself as the law west of the Pecos.
He was Sheriff Joe's great granddad.
Okay, well, I don't think that's why Arpaio keeps Roy Bean's picture near his bedside, but that could be it. Could be his granddad.
All right, so as the law west of the Pecos, Roy relied on just a single book to guide all of his decisions, the 1879 Revised Statutes of Texas. And I love this. When he was given new versions of the book, like the revised statutes, he used them as kindling. He just burned them. And Roy was peculiar. He didn't allow hung juries or appeals. And he chose the juries from whomever happened to be at the saloon at the time. And I am not even kidding here again. No shit. There was a 1-drink minimum at court recess.
Amazing.
That's the best. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I'm guessing that led to some weirdly honest confessions at this court.
Right.
Just like random outbursts during the trial. Yeah, fuck that guy's horse. It's a good looking fucking horse. You want to fight about it? Fuck the horse.
As someone who just did jury duty, I can confirm nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed.
All right, so I love this. In one particularly famous case, an Irishman who was no shit named Paddy O'Rourke shot and killed a Chinese
What did
worker.
he kill him for? Stealing his pot of gold?
Making fun of the Funky Bunch?
So a mob of angry Irish dudes threatened to kill Roy if he found Paddy guilty. And Roy poured through his trustworthy 1879 Revised Statutes of Texas, and he found that in it says it's illegal to kill a man in Texas. But since it didn't say anything about killing a Chinaman, Paddy was free to go.
Tom, I believe Chiniggaroon is the preferred nomenclature. My spell check, by the way, it's It's got like bigot AI or something. It's getting super. It did not underline Chinigaroon.
Maybe it just heard what you called that girl at the ice cream parlor. It's in your pocket.
All right, so this is a good one. Another notable example of Roy's judicial cunning was on evidence when a dead man was discovered with $40 and some concealed weapons on his person. So Roy's solution was to levy a posthumous fine and fees against the dead man amounting to $40.
Fucking estate tax.
And as the railroad construction moved, so did Roy, but he wasn't terribly well received everywhere he went. After setting up his saloon and courthouse 70 miles west of Vinegaroon in a town called Strawbridge, a competitor laced his whiskey with kerosene, and Roy couldn't attract any customers. He moved again, this time to Langtry.
Why didn't Roy just take him into his Magic Justice saloon and shoot him and take his $40?
All right, so in Langtry, the land that Roy wanted was sold already to the railroad, and it was sold on the condition that it not ever be sold or leased to Roy. So Roy just said, fuck it, and he illegally squatted on the land for 20 years. Because fuck you, that's why.
Jesus.
Yeah. I feel like when there are legal conditions that you personally can go fuck yourself, it's time to look inward. You know what I'm saying? When contracts mention you by name.
So Roy opened a new saloon/courthouse, and he named it the Jersey Lily. The town of Langtry didn't have a jail, so Roy had to get creative. He solved all of his cases by levying fines, and the fines he levied were, in amount, coincidentally, always for exactly how much money the accused person happened to have. And Roy just kept all of the money for himself. He sent none of it to the state. That was just his now.
What is he, Rod Blagojevich?
And then Roy Bean went on to be the founder of Ferguson, Missouri.
Well, to be fair, he was going to be the head of ICE, but that was too blatantly evil and destructive. So, you know, also toddlers ripped from their mother's arms have no money. So, you know.
I mean, I feel like at a certain point you would just like learn to forget your wallet that day, right?
I mean, that wasn't the end of his eccentricity. In the old-timey consarnate days of the West, horse thieves were typically hanged. But Roy just like let them go if they promised to give the horse back. And Roy also granted divorces in an area where that was extremely unusual, and he pocketed $10 for his trouble. A wedding, incidentally, was only $5. So the saying still holds true, it's cheaper to keep her.
Yeah.
Divorce is expensive, but worth it. After pronouncing a couple... And after pronouncing a couple is married, he ended each ceremony with the phrase, "May God have mercy on your souls."
Our judge just said retweet does not imply endorsement. It was weird because it was like 18 years before Twitter, but yeah, it was weird.
So Roy continued to be elected Justice of the Peace until 1896 when he was finally defeated. But the defeat did nothing to dissuade Roy at all. He just refused to give up his book and his seal, and he just kept calling cases. He just kept being Justice of the Peace.
Okay, Tom, spoilers for the 2020 election.
In 1896, Roy also just organized a world championship boxing match like you do in your golden years. And he did it on an island in the Rio Grande because boxing was illegal in Texas and in Mexico, but evidently not on an island in between. And although the fight only lasted for one period of intercourse with Heath, which is a minute and 35 seconds,
Thank you.
definitional.
Thank you.
Roy was celebrated nationally for organizing that fight.
They call me Tom Brady, Tom. King of the 2-minute drill, the hidden cameras, and the deflated balls. Work that 2 minutes. Minute 35.
So for all of his insanity, from that money, Roy spent most of the profits helping the poor and making sure school children had firewood for their classrooms.
Did he steal it from his neighbor?
After he shot him?
Right?
Yeah, right.
Fucker.
I find you a lot of firewood. Blam.
And now this next line is almost verbatim from the Wikipedia article. Roy died in his sleep peacefully after a night of heavy drinking.
I feel like everything was after a night of heavy drinking for Roy, but yeah.
And as is to be expected in Texas, he is now memorialized with a historical marker honoring him.
Protected by tiki torches and a mob. Yep.
Yeah.
And if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, what would it be?
Judge lots. There is profit to be had.
All right. Are you ready for a quiz from the panel?
Sure, what the hell?
All right. So, as we've established, Roy's courtroom was a bit unorthodox. What did he replace "In God We Trust" with? Was it A, "Give me all the money you have"? B, "Been there, done that"?
Oh, terrible.
C, "Roy beats girl"? Or D, "America is great right now"?
That is tough. Those are all valid options. I'm going to go with D, "America is great right now."
That is correct. That is
It
correct.
is not, though, which is sad.
All right, Tom. How does Eli's life mirror Roy Bean's?
Hurtful.
Possible way?
A, they both got thrown out of New Orleans for lifting their shirts. B, he acts like all his food has knives in it. C, they both hated Chinese guys. Or D, they both had to be cut out of a noose.
It was a fun high school prank.
That
It
joke
got
is
weird.
fucked up. So D, that joke is fucked up. Good one.
It's a high school. It was a fun thing. They were like,
Yeah.
"You made my sister kill herself," and I was like, "Nah, I don't want to get into it. It's a fun joke. I don't get to go to my reunions. It's fine."
All right, Tom, I got one for you. Which of the following Roy Bean-based remakes of classic courtroom films would be best? A, 11 Angry Men and 1 Angry Chinese Guy. B, My Cousin Mrs. Bean. C, And Justice for All You Got on You. Or D, or finally D, To Kill a Mexican.
I'm going to go with the Metallica reference. So that's C,
There you
and
go.
Justice for All You Got on You.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was To Kill a Mexican is the one that you think would be best.
Sure. Good. All right.
All right, Noah, you stumped him, so you get to decide who has to learn new stuff for next week.
All right. Well, I'm still reeling from the lack of angular specificity in the last couple of episodes, so I picked Cecil. I want to know how many degrees things lean, damn it.
I said that one time. Fuck you.
I'm going to toss it over to Sarah for last week's Twitter answer and this week's Twitter question.
Thanks, Heath. Last week's question was, what made the pig that started the Hatfield-McCoy feud so special? The answer comes from Jaded Zappa on Twitter with this. The pig could apply its own lipstick, using Molly Ringwald's method, of course. This week's question, if you were Judge Roy Bean, what sentence would you levy on Eli for his various crimes against humanity? Just retweet or Facebook share this episode with your answer for a chance to be next week's winner. Back to you, Heath.
All right, well, for Tom, Cecil, Noah, and Eli, I'm Heath. Thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Cecil will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can hear more from Tom and Cecil on cognitive dissonance, and you can hear more from Eli, Noah, and myself on The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptocrat, and God-Awful Movies. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, listen to past episodes, connect with us on social media, or take a look at the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com.